Welcome into the Phoenix Sports Podcast. It's me, it's your girl,
DJ Mackie P.
Makayla Perkins, and the one, the only, Shawn DePaz. We got Bubble Shane back in the cut. He left us last week.
It's been a minute since we've had all three of us do this
I know.
together. Hasn't it been like over a month, I feel like.
The gang's all back together.
What is poppin'? Here we go.
That's just a baby laugh. I don't know what that turned into.
Help me.
Oh,
help.
God. Oh, boy. This is going to be one of those episodes. I'm still currently retweeting everything that is happening right now, so I'm a little distracted. So, Shawn, tell the people what is happening.
What is that?
What is going on right now?
Is that a baby crying?
I don't know. Sorry. I don't know.
I'm so confused.
I gotta get out of here.
Okay,
Help
go
me.
away, Bubble Shane.
All right. What were you saying, Mac?
I don't know. It's just gonna be one of those shows.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is.
What's
Welcome
up
to
to our
Friday.
fam in the comments? Chris, Charles, Zona Tucson, Ryan. Hey squad, let's get it.
Dum.
I feel like I was like rapping there.
You
Like,
just said no out
Hey
of context.
squad, let's get it.
I don't
Okay,
know.
Russell Wilson,
I don't know. All right, I finished
TPSP
retweeting.
Hey,
country,
squad,
let's ride.
TPSP,
Friday squad, let's ride.
let's ride.
He has a new saying now. I don't know if you saw it, but he ended his press conference this morning with
Okay.
"Go Broncos."
Go Broncos.
Well, yeah, it used to be Go Hawks.
Mr.
So he's trying to get back to that.
Unlimited.
Awkward.
What a loser.
What even happened this week? Did we have a good week? I feel like this week went by so fast.
I don't know. What did we do this week? I mean, well, we had some pretty good things happen. I mean, that we're going to talk about in the show, at least.
Well, I mean, like in our personal
Oh,
lives.
no. Oh, no.
You know, I like to talk to the people.
I had
you
a
know?
really nice dinner last night with the Coyotes crew. That was really fun.
Oh, cute. A little team dinner.
Yeah, a little team dinner. But
Thanks
outside
for
of
the
that,
invite.
it was for the Coyotes crew.
Am I not somewhat a part of the Coyotes
No,
crew?
you're not.
We did an entire NHL draft together and suffered through that.
Okay, Shane's not a part of the Coyotes crew either.
Well, I see how it is. It's fine. Shane and I are going to go get dinner after this, and you're not invited.
Shane did not know about this.
No, we're not.
Well,
Ready?
Shane
Okay.
was forced to go to dinner with Mac
One,
against his
two,
will.
three. Poof, switch.
All right. Well, we've got a great show planned for you guys today. We're talking all things Budda Baker, Arizona Cardinals, Cards training camp. We're getting into the MLB Trade Deadline and the fact that the Arizona Diamondbacks are doing nothing so far
Yet.
as of now.
Yeah.
Um,
CWP just told me a Circle K. Let's go.
And a little Arizona Coyotes talk because the desert just got a whole lot cooler.
You are the worst.
All right. But before we get into
That was a baby Google too.
before we get into that, I don't know if you guys know this, but the fact that I am here and alive is a miracle because I can't feed myself. I don't know how to
okay.
cook.
I was like, what are we? Are we getting sick again for going out every night?
No, I can't cook to save a life.
Yeah, me
I don't
either.
know how to make anything. I don't know how to use the oven. I
One
don't
of
know
the
how
few
to
things that
preheat
we've
it.
bonded over, our inability to like take
Yeah.
care of ourselves as adults.
We don't know how we're functioning adults, but we are alive. And so I am alive, and I am brought to you by Factor meal kits because Factor meal kits are the only thing that are keeping me alive at this point in time. This is actually crazy. So Factor is a sponsor of PHNX, but I was eating Factor before they became a sponsor of PHNX, and I recommended them to you.
That is true. Shane was also eating them, but yeah, you took the extra step of sending me your promo code.
My little promo
which got
code.
both of us some free Factor.
So this is a testament that like we actually do eat and love Factor.
It
you
is
guys.
crazy, right? Like I feel like I say this all the time. You know, there's a lot of podcasts out there that get paid to talk about these brands, and they just talk about these brands.
Yeah.
But like we've been doing all this
We've been rocking with
before.
Factor.
We were all three of us were eating Factor well in advance of this
Yeah.
even being a topic of conversation.
It is literally the
PHNX.
best ready-to-eat meal kit ever. They deliver the box to your door so you don't have to go grocery shopping, which is big for me because I never have time to go to the grocery store.
Mhm.
They come pre-made and pre-packaged, so all you have to do is poke a couple holes in the film and stick that shit in the microwave for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. And then if you're like me, because you're lazy, you don't even put it on a plate. You just eat it right out of the container, so you can just throw the container away.
Oh yeah,
And you
why
don't
are
have
you
to do
putting it on a
dishes.
plate? That's a waste of time. I use plastic silverware.
It's
Like
terrible.
we're not. What are we doing here?
It's so
I'm not
bad.
putting
It's
this-
so embarrassing, you guys. This is like a window into my life and the fact that I just am not a functioning adult and I can't take care of myself. But the meals are so good. Like they're actually delicious. I was a little skeptical because I was like, I don't know if this is going to taste good. Like I'm a little weary of this. No, they slap. They are such good meals. And they also have vegan options,
Mhm.
keto options, like anything you need for your diet. They've got it.
The smoothies.
The smoothies. The
bro. Because
smoothies
when we were
slap.
ordering them, full disclosure, when we were ordering them, I wasn't getting the smoothies. I didn't know about the smoothies. They sent us some smoothies, and I forgot mine today. But I've been drinking them for lunch basically every day this week. And
Yeah.
plant-based
Smoothies go crazy.
bomb. The tropical smoothie bomb.
If you want to get in on this Factor action, all you have to do is head to factormeals.com/PHNX50 and use code PHNX50 to get 50% off your order. Again, that's code PHNX50 at factormeals.com/PHNX50 to get 50% off. All right. Let's get into some Cardinals.
Let's do it.
You want to do it? Want to talk some football?
I guess it's right on the corner, man.
I know. Isn't that crazy that we're
I mean, it's
already
here, really. Training
Yeah.
camp's here.
It is football season.
It is. And more importantly than training camp being here, certain safety is also here.
Certain safety has secured the bag.
Secured the bag.
You got that money.
The one and only Budda Baker got a raise.
You got a raise.
Not an extension. You got a raise. As you see here, Ian Rappaport saying $2.4 million in bonuses and incentives, including a $300,000 signing bonus.
What was that number?
Which part? The $2.4 million or the 300? What did I say?
300 and 1,000.
300,000. 300K signing bonus. He also received a raise for next season.
AZ's leader is back.
Which,
Best
AZ's
way to
leader
end
is
that
back. So free agent after next season, right? But
he's an unrestricted free agent in 2025.
Yep. And obviously, he requested a trade earlier this year. There was kind of a dispute over a contract extension, him wanting to be paid what he deserves, or at least what he thinks he deserves.
As he should.
Absolutely. And it appears he's done that. So, I mean, I guess just what's your initial reaction to seeing that Budda is back and staying in the Valley for at least 2 more years?
I mean, well, first of all, when it was confirmed that he got a raise, I was stoked. I was honestly like, whatever it takes to keep Budda happy and here in the Valley, like, do it. I think we had a podcast a couple weeks ago where I was like, I don't understand like what the holdup here is. Like, he is one of the most talented safeties in the NFL. He is also probably one of the best character guys to have in a locker room. His leadership skills are unmatched. He will outwork anybody and anyone on the field. So like, hello, knock, knock, knock. Like, Monty Austinfort, what are we doing here? Like, let's just keep Budda happy, give Budda whatever he wants. Like, it's not like he hasn't earned it. And so when I saw that they worked something out with him, I was so stoked. I was so relieved. I did have to reread that tweet though, because I was like, a raise?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it definitely was.
I was like, am I reading this right? Like, I don't think I've ever heard of someone getting a raise in the NFL. Because to me, it's either like a contract extension or nothing. So, I know that might just be like my ignorance, but I had to reread it. I was like, a raise? Like, they can do that? Like, they could just give player raises? Like, what?
No, and I mean, at the very least, you don't really hear it phrased like that. Like, usually, I mean, you hear guys restructuring their contracts, but it's usually to take less money or move money around type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would definitely, that part of it definitely caught me a little off guard. But I mean, I'm just happy that he's back. Like, I'm just happy that he's going to be here because
I'm happy he's happy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like this, I mean, obviously this is a team with a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys, a lot of guys in very important years. But to have that kind of leadership, especially in this new regime trying to kind of change this culture, everyone loves Budda, and he's just a great leader, a great football player, a great person. And so I think it's super important for this team that's trying to develop, even if they're not, like, the reality is these next 2 years they're not winning a Super Bowl with Budda Baker. Like, they're not really trying, that's not really their goal right now. But they still recognize his value to hopefully achieving that goal at some point in the future. And I mean, it doesn't eliminate the chances of him being here past his contract expiring, obviously. So I'm just thrilled that he's back.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. He also appears to be happy that he's back. He posted a video on his personal social media accounts earlier this week that had everyone talking, because we all had that information of him like requesting a trade, like not getting the money he wants. So we all thought, well, maybe he's like still upset with the organization and the team. But the video that he posted says otherwise. Nope.
Oh, Budda video? My bad.
Well, awkward. we don't have the video,
but I forgot.
Shane's gonna import it while we wait. But the video was like very pro Cardinals, and I was like, is he okay? Like, did something happen that we just don't know about? I was a little like confused about his like optimism and cheeriness within the video. So I was a little caught off guard. I don't think I was expecting him to be like as chipper as he was.
No, yeah, here we go. Now I got the video.
Hey, man. All I want to know is, are y'all fucking ready, man? Go Cards.
He ended it with a go
fucking
Cards.
Ready. Go Cards.
So my question for you is, do you think that this is the day? Because I think it came down on Monday or Tuesday, earlier this week. And we didn't find out about the raise until yesterday. Do you think that this is when he found out about his raise and he was stoked and he was like, you know what? Let's just let bygones be bygones. I'm going to hop on my IG and I'm going to be super stoked about being a Cardinal and like, let's just get it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it wasn't like the final definitive word, but it definitely seems like he had reason to feel that something was, they were figuring that out. And I don't think it ever really seemed like he requested a trade, but it was never so much that he didn't want to be a part of the organization. It was more that he just didn't feel like he was being respected by the organization.
Right.
Or his value wasn't being met. So like, I think he's clearly like thrilled to be back here. And yeah, I mean, I think this is probably, I think you're seeing a man that is happy that the organization that he wants to be a part of wants him to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, at the very least, that definitely seems like a moment where he something changed as far as this whole kind of situation went.
Yeah, he either caught wind of something coming down the pipeline, or that was when he was notified by like his agent that he was in fact getting the money that he was asking for. At least in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know, and I can't confirm or deny when Budda found out. But it just seems like to me, after like the rocky, weird time, the offseason of him, you know, not necessarily being the happiest with the organization, to just like switch it up like that.
Yeah.
I feel that's an indication of him like knowing that things were going his way. But that's just my opinion, because also the same thing happened, if you remember, this offseason with DeAndre Hopkins posting on his personal social media about like, I'm in the Valley. I don't know who said I didn't want to be here. And then he gets traded like a week after that?
At least, yeah.
So, I mean, he had to have known that something was happening. And so he was like, I want to end on good terms with like Cardinals fans in the Valley. So I'm just going to be like, you know what? I'm in the Valley. Who says I didn't want to be in the Valley? And then he gets released like a week later.
Yeah.
So I have a conspiracy theory that the Cardinals players are finding things out well in advance of us, which I think they should, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Because there's nothing worse than being like Chris Paul and flying on a plane and
and
finding out you get traded. But yeah, I have a conspiracy theory that these players are finding out and then using their social media to their advantage. But you know, that's just me. It's not a bad
you got to
theory,
use
though.
what tools you have at your disposal.
Right?
Social
That's what I'm
media
saying.
is a big one for the players.
I do want to ask you this though. So considering that Budda is going to be a unrestricted free agent in 2025, which is just around the corner, which is also mental to think about. Do you think it was the right move to give him a raise instead of a contract extension?
Mental. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think from a manager perspective, it's good. Like, you keep him happy, you keep him not requesting a trade and on the field. You also aren't tied into any kind of long-term deal with a corner or a defensive back who's going to be 29, I believe, when his contract expires.
Yeah, he's 27 right now.
But yeah, so I think from a manager's perspective, it's awesome. As long as Budda's here for the next 2 years, and the door is still open to extend him. I think, if you always want the team to be in a position to succeed, and God forbid anything goes wrong with Budda or he falls off a cliff, anything like that, you don't want to be
okay. Whoa!
I meant talent-wise, not literally fall off a cliff, Makayla. Jesus. Anyways,
knock on wood right now.
I was talking. You knew what I meant. Anyways, what are we doing here? Anyways, yeah, I mean, it's good that they aren't going to be tied into a player that could potentially, any number of things could go wrong. And he's happy. So like I said, the door for him to be extended is still very much open.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I didn't really understand the raise at first because I was like, just give him a contract. Like what? To me, this feels like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the door type of mentality from like the Cardinals, like front office perspective. It's like, well, we really like you and we want to make you happy. So here's a raise, but we're also not ready to commit like long term to you. It feels like the Cardinals are in a situationship with Budda. Instead of like a committed relationship, they're in like a situationship. And so I was initially in the boat of why did we just not give him a contract extension? Like, he's done anything and everything to deserve it. The talent on the field and off the field have warranted an extension, in my opinion. And so now I kind of feel like the Cardinals are like kind of like half in, half out with Budda. And instead of like a committed relationship, they're in a situationship, which I mean, works better for the Cardinals front office for sure, because they have more mobility now with, you know, not being locked into like a certain amount and for a certain amount of time. And they, you know, they can manipulate the situation to their advantage if they need to when it comes to like adding more players or.
Yeah, they have more flexibility. They're going to have more flexibility at a time when they're closer to winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything.
So from the Cardinals side, it makes sense. But to me, if I was Budda, and maybe I'm just crazy, I would look at that and I'd be like, okay, so you will give me money, but you won't give me a contract too. I don't know. That's just me. I could be wrong. Am I wrong?
I mean, he seems happy. So I don't know. He could feel some kind of way about it behind the scenes, but as long as everything is on the up and up publicly and, you know, everything's good in the club or the locker room, like, I'm good. Yeah.
Well, another layer to the situation that made me kind of think about it in a different perspective is yesterday during Cardinals training camp, Jonathan Gannon was obviously asked about this news because it broke yesterday. And the things that he said about Budda made me kind of reinforce my feelings of, I think he's worthy of a contract extension, but I'll let you listen to Jonathan and tell me what you think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I cut my teeth coaching the secondary, you know what I mean? You just appreciate good players. And what's cool about it is I think good players come in, you know, all shapes and sizes and different play styles, and it's kind of like when you say, well, who does this guy remind you of, or who's the best guys you've been around, you know, how does he fit into those guys? This guy, he's just a unique player. He's got a unique skill set, and he does some really good things. But there's a couple guys, I don't compare people, but there's a couple guys that have been, you know, the cream of the crop that he does remind me of. But yeah, it's a joy to see any of our guys when you turn on a tape play with effort and enthusiasm, make plays and have fun, and, you know, talk a little noise to the other side. It's good to see that.
The cream of the crop. I feel like that whole monologue and the hand motions were very complimentary of Budda. And so if everyone can see it, including this new head coach that was just brought in, who hasn't even had a snap to coach Budda yet in a real game, like a game that counts situation, why would you not give him an extension?
Yeah, I mean, not. Listen, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, obviously he is amazing, but, you know, as far as the coach is concerned, like, coach is only going to say good things about his players. He's happy to have a talented player on his roster, and that's all he can control. He's here for 2 years. I mean, Jonathan Gannon knows how this goes. If they win 2 games over the next 2 years, he might not have a job in the next year. So, like, all he can really control is the right now and be very focused on the present. And as far as he's concerned, he's got a super talented player, probably the best safety in the league, on his roster for the next 2 years. So all he can do is kind of sing his praises.
And I'm going to ask you too what you think this says about the new front office and the new regime that is in control of these types of decisions for the Cardinals. But I think it's funny because the Cardinals have a history of committing too soon and then overpaying and then still being on the hook to pay people when they're not even with the team anymore. Looking at 2 very particular people, if you know, you know. So I think it's interesting. I don't know if that, like, those 2 situations would maybe necessarily make the Cardinals like gun shy to pull the trigger, because they're like, well, we're still paying 2 people a lot of money that aren't even in the organization anymore. So like, maybe let's just like pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know. I can't read their minds. But what do you think this says about Monty Austin-Fort and his regime? Do you think this is something that Steve Keim would have done? Or do you think this is obviously like a very Monty Austin-Fort style type of deal? Like, do you expect to see more of this from Monty?
I mean, I don't know. You know, the Budda thing was kind of a unique situation, so I don't know necessarily you're going to see more of this, I think, exactly. But I mean, it seems like he did the right thing. So to say that I expect the Keim regime to have done the same thing would be lying. I don't know. I don't know what the Keim regime would have done. But all I know is that this seems like the right thing, and it just I have confidence in this regime now.
And Monty as GM.
And Monty as GM. Like, and even Bidwell's is just like, I don't know, listening to their GM and supporting them however they can. But like, I don't know that the Keim regime would have done this because it makes a lot of sense.
That's literally what I was just about to say. I was like, I have no faith that if Steve Keim was still the general manager, he would have done anything like this. Like, he would have probably pissed Budda off even more than Budda would have just like sat and not played the rest of the season or something awful, because I don't have any faith that Steve Keim would have been able to do something.
We don't have to know. We don't have to figure it out. We don't have to care. We don't have to worry that Keim was going to screw this up some way or screw this up in another way in the future.
Yeah.
As of right now, and obviously it's still a pretty small sample size, but Monty seems to be doing like all the right things and staying within himself, staying within the organization, not trying to pretend that he or the organization is something that's not, or the roster is not something, or something that it's not.
Yeah.
And that's really all you can ask for, especially as a team that is in the situation this team is, that's rebuilding. You need a GM to come in with a plan and to know what's good for the franchise, and it seems that's what Monty is doing as of right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just happy that Monty Ossenfort had the foresight to keep Budda happy, whether that was giving him a raise or a contract extension and whatever he thought was appropriate. He obviously went with the raise. I'm glad that at least something was done so that we didn't have to worry about Budda's attitude towards the organization, if he was happy, if he was unhappy, if we were going to get like passive aggressive subtweets during the season. I'm just happy that Budda's happy, like I said before. And I'm thankful that at least Monty recognized the necessity of paying Budda what he's worth, because I do think he's worth the money that he got in that raise. So
yeah, 100%.
Very happy that Budda's happy. Chris in the comments saying, I think there's way too many questions with all of the turnover and K1 to commit. Well, speaking of Kyler Murray, we got some news about him yesterday as well. The Cardinals officially announced that Kyler Murray would start training camp on the PUP. Basically, the physically unable to perform list is like a roster designation that the NFL uses for players who have football-related injuries prior to the start of training camp. And then being on the PUP also means that the Cardinals can activate him whenever they want, and it's less restrictive than the IL is, where you have to wait a certain amount of time to designate someone to return or whatever those types of rules regarding the IL are. And he was also spotted at training camp. He was on the sidelines there yesterday, just talking with some coaches, hanging out, doing all the things that a quarterback would do. I think, who's he talking to there? I can't see.
Like Hollywood.
Is it Hollywood? Yeah. Talking to his buddy Hollywood, but he was in the building. He was present, even though he's on the PUP. He was participating in a way of showing his presence, which I'm happy to see, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this all offseason while he's been going through his rehab. Like, he's doing all he can, right?
Yeah.
He's saying that he wants to come back. He's clearly, it seems from everyone that's talked about it, seems like he's rehabbing his ass off. And he's there. I mean, he's not a stupid person, right? He knows what the narrative is about him, and I think he fully understands that what's at stake for him, right? I mean, they keep talking about it on Cardinals. We've talked about it here. Like, the season doesn't go well, they might be in a position to draft Caleb Williams, right?
Every time we talk about Caleb Williams, people in the comments lose their minds.
But it's just,
they're not going to do
you
that.
have to acknowledge that situation is a reality.
You also have to acknowledge that Caleb Williams is the same size as Tua Tagovailoa.
That is true. That is true. Much smaller than I realized, especially when you meet him in person, which we did.
Bigger than K1?
Everyone's bigger than K1.
Yes, but everyone, yes.
Caleb
I just love the narrative that he's like this Adonis
physical freak.
He's not like a 6'6", like John Elway type of.
How tall is he?
6'1".
Yeah, like.
Oh, it's not terrible.
But he also throws the ball like Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, yeah. Imagine me if I had the physical talent of Patrick Mahomes and was sexier. You got Caleb Williams.
Okay, all right.
Anyways,
Caleb Williams isn't sexy.
Caleb Williams is a cute dude. He's a good looking dude.
It's fine.
He's a good looking dude. Anyways, you have to acknowledge Kyler is a smart dude. He's fully aware of the reality of what the season means for him, all of that. And I think he understands that this new regime is a chance for him to kind of reset the narrative himself as well. And I mean, like, Keim, I think, has been kind of talking shit about him, but is in a lot of ways doing him a lot of favors, because I don't think Keim is a very well-liked person. So I think Keim constantly shitting on him in public any chance he gets is making Kyler a more likable figure.
Yeah, that's totally
at least
fair.
He is in my eyes.
Every time he's on Steve Keim's on a podcast,
dude,
he talks about everything but how he messed up his opportunity as being a GM on the air.
Literally, fuck that guy. Anyways,
terrible.
But yeah, I think Kyler knows, and so he's doing everything he can to kind of reset that narrative and prove that he is a franchise changing quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all you can ask for.
I agree. Obviously, him being there at training camp, just hanging out, is like the bare minimum of what he can do. But I'm glad that he's doing it, because I agree with you. I think he knows the narrative surrounding him. I also think there might be some Cardinals influence in there. I think the team recognized that, last season in the offseason, he was in Texas working out. Like, obviously, I know things are different now because he's injured. So I'm sure the team was like, hey, like, you're injured. Like, let's make sure you stay in Arizona this offseason and you work out in only our facilities. So, like, we can keep an eye on you, make sure everything's okay. So obviously, and that was in the offseason. Obviously, now that training camp has started, Kyler does need to be there in some capacity. So I'm glad that he was making his presence known and his teammates saw him out there as well. Do you still think that Kyler is aiming for a week 1 return? Is that still realistic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's aiming for it. I don't know how realistic it is. I don't think it's probably the smart decision either, but like I said, I think he knows exactly what's at stake here, and the sooner he gets out there and is able to prove that he is of value to this franchise, the better for him. So I'm sure it's definitely his goal, but I'm not banking on it.
Yeah, I think Kyler's itching to get back. I think everything that we've heard and seen from him, both like how he's handled the offseason and the way people have talked about how he's handled the offseason, it's obvious that he wants to come back and play. I think the narrative of him being more concerned about himself and not rushing him to come back because he doesn't care is a false one and stupid. So I think I don't know. I'm happy that he's out there at least. But
yeah, so am I.
I guess we'll see. I don't know if coming back week 1 is necessarily the best thing for Kyler, especially because they're playing the Commanders in Washington, and we all know what happens on that field.
Yeah. No, I've said that before. Like, we talked about that not too long ago. Keep this man off of that field.
Yeah, please. Please.
Ask RG3.
Yeah. Ryan in the comments saying Steve Keim is a better understudy to Josh Brolin to star in Marvel movies featuring Thanos than he was the GM of the Cardinals. Facts.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
That would be. I didn't think
good.
Thanos could get more evil.
That would be so good.
Chris saying it'll take a hot minute to purge the poison from the last decade of the Cards front office, the previous Cards front office. Yeah, definitely agree there.
I have a better joke.
Okay, go.
Steve Keim would let the Infinity Stones walk for nothing in free agency.
Oh God. Okay.
No, he would opt for a off-ball linebacker instead of the Infinity Stones in the first round of the draft.
I think Daniel took a shot at Jay Crowder, the snakes in the grass. That was Jay Crowder's tweet, right? He did the all caps snakes in the grass. Yeah. Thankfully, we're avoiding a snakes in the grass.
Can I just say real quick, people who make their brand on Twitter, and I don't mean this in a PHNX D-backs kind of way because it's like a fun, but the people who are like, every single tweet I send is all caps because I am all caps. You're a loser.
You're a loser. Just in case anyone was wondering before we move on from Cardinals talk, Colt McCoy is taking snaps as QB1 in training camp. As of right now, obviously it's still very early. Training camp just started 3 days ago, so we're still early in it, but Colt McCoy is taking snaps.
Watch your back,
QB1.
though, because the tune train is coming. Choo-choo.
All right, we got some D-backs talk to talk about
the reason
before
why they rebuilt Toontown.
Yeah, baby.
Disneyland.
Before we do that, Shawn, tell us about OGs.
I mean, what is there to say that I haven't said before? The reality is they're the best scratch-made gummies on the face of the planet, especially because they're made right here in Arizona. And I mean, they got the biggest problem that they have is they got a lot of different flavors, right? Like they got
too many good ones.
Too many good ones. I mean, they're all good, but like they got their summertime pink lemonade flavor. They've got their creams. They've got their fruits. And like the creams have a bunch of different kinds within them, like orange creamsicle, peach, and like all of this. And you're like, I don't want to have to choose. OG's takes that. They take that problem away from you because they got the variety bags. They got, like I said, the fruits, the creams, all of them in one bag. Gotta love it. The lineup they have of gummies is just absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
Like I said, fruits and creams assorted packs. They have their sleep edition gummies, strawberries and cream happy balance, the THC CBD 1-to-1 ratio. The mini OGs, the microdose. OGs, they definitely have something for you. So we highly recommend you check them out. You can check them out online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. I may or may not have stopped at the dispensary last night, and what I see staring me right in the face in the display case, some OGs. I'll pick some up. That's what I do. So like I said, head to your local dispensary, check them out. But as always, you must be 21 or older to enjoy.
There you have it. Hey, Hey, Shawn, did you know that Four
What's that?
Peaks is the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks?
I did not.
Oh,
Actually, I did. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Four
know that. I know our
Peaks
sponsors.
sure is. Four Peaks is the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Their Rattle On Red Ale is so good. I'm not normally a red ale girl, but for that, I will drink it because it's actually really good. And also, if you're going to a Diamondbacks game soon, head on up to their Four Peaks draft room. It's located on the suite level, down the first base line in deep right field. Nick Castellano. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have 2 more Diamondbacks takeovers events to close out the season. We've got one coming up on September 12th. Wait, is next month August? August 12th.
What are we doing?
July, August. Yeah? August is next.
Yes.
Okay. August 12th is the next one. And then we have another one in September. So if you want to come to one of those takeovers, which I highly recommend you do because they're super fun, you can head on over to the @PHNX_DBacks Twitter to stay up to date with all of our D-backs takeover news. And to get tickets, make sure you check out @4peaksbrew or @4peakspub on Instagram to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks. Please drink responsibly. Your girl is cracking open a nice hazy IPA after the show.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I can't believe you just embarrassed yourself in front of your mom like that.
I embarrass myself in front of my mom all the time.
Listen,
enough. I have this thing. I don't know my left from my right. And I also have to sing the month song to know which month comes next. Like I don't know it just like off the dome.
I feel like I've had this conversation with you before. You don't have to admit those things.
I'm very open, you know, like I am a hot mess and I like to share my hot mess express for the rest of the world. I don't care. If you all think I'm dumb, you think I'm dumb. It's fine.
Absolutely. I respect it.
Very open.
Speaking of hot messes.
Yeah. Oof, holy cow. We got a hot mess express down the road.
Arizona Diamondbacks kind of suck at baseball right now.
They do. They sure do.
And that's
they got the best team
relax.
in the American League coming to town.
Relax. Shane's Seattle Mariners, kind of a joke of a franchise. No one really respects them. Thank you for putting the sirens, as I said, no one respects the Seattle Mariners. But yeah, no, they have the Mariners coming in town this weekend. But they suck. That was the clown sound for how much of a clown joke the Seattle Mariners are. You got another one for me? I'll spin it against the Mariners. Okay. Anyways, D-backs kind of a train wreck right now, which is a problem in its own right. It's even bigger problem because the MLB trade deadline is fast approaching.
It sure is. August 1st.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Hey, look. August is next because August 1st is the trade deadline.
We're talking about baseball now, not
sorry,
how you can't read at a 3rd grade level.
That was so mean.
It wasn't, though, because you learned that stuff in 1st grade.
All right. August 1st is the trade deadline.
August 1st, 3 p.m. Eastern. Or no, 3 p.m. our time, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Shawn, have the Diamondbacks done anything yet?
No, they have not. They've sat on their ass is what they've done. Which, deadline's not here yet. But it's becoming a little bit more of a problem because the trade deadline kind of got a little crazy the other night. It started heating up. A couple other teams started making moves. The Dodgers have made a bunch of moves that make absolutely no sense. They've traded for 4 people, all with negative WARs, which means one of them is going to win the NLCS MVP because that's how the Dodgers do.
Also, did you see Joe Kelly's going back to the Dodgers?
Yeah, I did. Joe Kelly, one of my favorite baseball players of all time.
Listen. I hate the Dodgers more than probably is reasonable for amount of a girl my size. Like the rage that I hold inside me for the Dodgers is undeniable. But hear me out. Joe Kelly, when he did that pout
to the Astros, he's a dog. I love him. He was a sock.
Iconic.
I have a special place in my heart.
The one thing that I will tolerate about the Dodgers is Joe Kelly because I think he's a savage and he's hilarious. And so I'm kind of, I'm a Joe Kelly
I have a sock spot in my heart for Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
I do like him, but he hasn't really been good this year. Like I said, they traded for 4 players, all with negative WARs. The big move really came with the Angels taking Shohei Ohtani off the trade market and then promptly acquiring Lucas Giolito from the White Sox and another bullpen arm.
The Angels are such a tease. They were like, you all thought you had a shot at Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Psych. And also, we're going to make a playoff push with trying to acquire some really great starting pitching talent.
Which is kind of dumb if you're the Angels.
What?
Well, it's not dumb. I understand it, but they're 4.5 games back in a stacked AFA or AL wildcard race. So
yeah,
go off
stacked AL West. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, with two good teams in front of them, neither of which are the Seattle Mariners. Anyways, no, the Mariners are coming at them. They're coming. They're coming. They will not be not. I'm pro Mariner. I'm pro Julio. Anyways, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Yeah, so they did. The Angels did that, and then last night. This one's a slightly bigger blow to the D-backs because they are definitely in the market for a closer. One of the big closers on the market, David Robertson from the New York Mets, got traded in division to the Miami Marlins. First off, what are we doing? Why are we trading people in division? But the Marlins obviously are competing with the D-backs in this NL wildcard race. So that one hurts a little bit. It hurts even more, like I said, the D-backs suck. 3-9 since they've come back from the All-Star break, been swept twice. Bullpen has given up a run in 18 of the last 19 games, which is why a guy like David Robertson would have been really nice to acquire. And the offense has not really been that great. They've really struggled with runners in scoring position.
The Mets are going to Met.
The Mets are going to Met, yeah. But here is the question that is being asked now, is especially with their recent struggles, do you think the D-backs are still going to kind of try to make moves at the deadline? What kind of moves do you think they'll make at the deadline, or do you think they're just going to kind of stay pat?
Oh,
I don't think selling is on the option. Would you or on the table? Would you agree with that? Like,
yeah, selling is off the table. They're not selling for sure. It's so hard to read.
It's important to for context. Like, all the other teams in the wild card race in the NL have also sucked recently. So like they're still very much, despite not playing good baseball, they're still very much in the thick of the NL wild card race. And I think they're only 4.5 games back of the Dodgers. So they're technically speaking,
they're not
still
out of it by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. But listen, like, they're 3-9 since the All-Star break. They have spectacularly shit the bed in a time where they couldn't afford to. Like, they needed to come back from the All-Star break and punch every team in the mouth that they were playing, and they absolutely did not do that. They were the ones that were getting punched in the mouth. And I'm super frustrated because, you know, Mike Hazen said it. He was like, if we can finish out these 2 weeks before the trade deadline, we're going to be big buyers. And they didn't do that. So it's a very hard situation to read because I said this last week. I think the Diamondbacks are a little bit ahead of schedule, in my opinion, of where they were supposed to be this season. Like, this season, I was very much just expecting mediocrity with a few flashes of greatness from like Corbin Carroll and Zach Gallen and stuff like that. But I don't know if Mike Hazen shares that opinion of them being ahead of schedule. If he does, I feel like they're not necessarily going to be buyers because they have time. Like, they have a stacked farm system. They still have a lot of talent that's developing in AA, AAA, even in single A. I think Lawler's in single A still, but they've got a lot of talents that's still developing, and the timeline of them being like big time heavy hitting competitors wasn't supposed to hit until 2025. Yeah. So in my opinion, I think they're a little bit ahead of schedule. And if you know me, I have been preaching this to the choir for the longest time of stay the course. Like, Mike Hazen, stay the course. Like, you have done an incredible job of reconstructing this roster, of reconstructing the farm system. Let's not do anything crazy and like give up all of the pieces that we've, you know, worked so hard to develop and to acquire, and like sell the farm too soon and just push the chips in too soon, because a lot about baseball is timing. Like, there's a little bit of luck, timing. Like, it's such a hard sport to win because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Timing has so much to do with it. You have a little bit of luck thrown in there. And so I don't want to see Hazen push the chips in too soon, because that could be catastrophic. Like, if they go too soon and they're not ready, that's going to set them back even further. So I don't want to see them be buyers if they're not ready. And I don't think they are personally. So to me, if they don't do anything at the deadline, I'm not going to be the most upset about it. I think if anything, I'm more upset that they flamed out so spectacularly after starting the year so hot and getting my hopes high, but that's a personal problem.
I mean, so first, a counter to what you were saying about like the window, they also do like their best offensive player right now, or at least the most consistent offensive player right now, I would say, is Ketel Marte. He's in his prime, and you only have 2 years or this year and next year of Zach Gallen. So like, the picture could look very different in 2 years. So I mean, and when you have an opportunity staring at you in the face, you kind of have to go for it. I would be very disappointed if they don't do anything. I'm going to say that right now. I'll be very disappointed. I think they're kind of approach to the deadline is definitely changed by the recent struggles. Like, I think they're probably going to emphasize control more, which is why a guy like David Bednar, which we'll talk about in a second, is interesting because you got a few years of control, as opposed to a guy like David Robertson, who is a rental, right? There are a lot of guys on the trade market who are rentals, and they're going to be gone after this year.
Yeah.
And that obviously really changes a lot if you're Mike Hazen. So, I think it probably changes their approach a little bit. They're not going to be super aggressive and really with the idea that this is their year. It's this year or bust. But I do think that they are going to try to put themselves in a position to at least reach the postseason this year.
Yeah. I would also be happy if they made moves before the deadline with more of like a future mentality in mind of like, okay, this might not like be the biggest impact now, but maybe next season or 2 seasons from now, this is going to be huge for us. And if that's like a lesser known name or whatever they think is an appropriate like future play, I'm also fine with that.
Yeah. I think right now control is kind of the name of the game from Mike Hazen.
Yeah.
As far as like specifics, we haven't heard a whole lot about what the D-backs are really doing in this deadline. Obviously, we heard the report not too long ago that they checked in on Shohei Ohtani, which doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. Obviously, LA ended up taking him off the trade market and turned into buyers. But I mean,
which I'm so glad they did it, so we didn't have to contemplate if Shohei was going to be a Diamondback.
Yeah, well, yeah. But like, I mean, everyone was checking in on Shohei. He's the greatest player of all time. You got to see if the Angels are giving him away for free, basically. Like, you got to ask, right?
Which with that front office, I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah, right. But they didn't. The only other thing that we've really heard is Gambo apparently said on his radio show yesterday that the D-backs are very much in on David Bednar and I believe Jordan Montgomery, a pitcher from the Cardinals, but Bednar being the big one because we know that the Pirates are at the very least listening and they are selling. They made a trade the other day. Bednar is a little different because, like I said, he has a few years of control.
Yeah.
So if you're the Pirates, a little less inclined to give a guy like that up. But like we mentioned, bullpen's been struggling. Offense has stagnated a little bit, and we know Mike Hazen has said previously that he wants a right-handed bat. And then obviously, I think they need to still bolster the starting lineup. Is the bullpen your top, or a closer your top priority, or is it one of these kind of other position or areas of need?
No, I think the starting rotation is my biggest priority. I know you guys. I know the bullpen is tragic. Trust me, I am aware. I am of the mindset that you fix the bullpen through like off-season acquisitions and your farm system. And like but also I used to be a fan of a team that spent $110 million on a bullpen that also flamed out spectacularly. So I'm a little gun-shy.
The D-backs do have a track record of spending money on arms that have been good, and then they come here and they are not good.
The year that they had Yoshi Hirano on the roster was the year I think that they went and spent money on the bullpen. I am not one to recommend trying to fix the bullpen as the top priority or spend a lot of money on it because I just don't think that's something that's like easy to fix. I think like if you, as a whole, if you examine just like teams that struggle, like I feel like the bullpen is always one of those things. And it's just, it's so hard to try to figure out. So anyway, I think starting pitching should be the main focus. I'm still big. I was a little upset about Lucas Giolito getting taken off the board because I think he would have been a great addition to the roster. I'm still big on Marcus Stroman. I think he would fit in well here. I just think I would much rather the Diamondbacks address their starting rotation because if you take a look down into their farm system, they don't have the talent to restock their starting rotation in a way that is going to be consistent enough to be competitive. Like they've got Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, Human Lin maybe eventually, but they don't.
Yeah,
really
I mean, like eventually, but I'm talking like in the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
You've got Ryan, who's 2 up and 2 down, who's either spot on or is
home for his life.
Zach Davies needs to be DFA'd, and who's the fifth that I'm forgetting?
Tommy Henry.
Yeah, Tommy Henry,
been good.
Which is again,
he's been good.
Like he should be your 5th person, your 5th option, and right now he's number 3. Which is
I mean, I definitely agree that the rotation right now is not. It's not that of a World Series winning team.
Yeah, and pitching wins championships. So
Fott has looked good in his last start up until he gave up 3 straight home runs. But he's getting another start soon before the deadline, so you'll get a better look at him. But none of these guys have been super consistent. Tommy Henry, I like Tommy Henry a lot, but like I said, he's not number 3. So I definitely do think they need to address the starting lineup. But for me, the closer is by far the most important. This bullpen needs stability more than anything. I think there's plenty of talent in the bullpen. We've seen all of these guys be very like very, very good bullpen arms for stretches throughout the year. But I think they need the stability of having a guy that when it goes to the ninth inning, that's the guy who's getting the ball. And you can kind of put someone into the setup role so you have just a better idea of what's coming every single night as far as the bullpen is concerned.
Yeah.
I think that would help guys a lot. And to have a guy that is more comfortable in those high leverage situations. I think the team very, very much needs that. I think they need they need more than any one thing. I think if they want a real chance at winning a World Series.
Yeah.
But the reality is that Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, when they're on, they are the best 1-2 in baseball. And they haven't really, obviously Merrill's been hurt. Zach's been up kind of all over the place. So they haven't been that. But if they can, and then you can get one of these guys to really figure it out in the back end of the season, like you could have a rotation that could maybe put you in a position to succeed. Maybe. I don't think that's the case for the bullpen.
Maybe.
It's strong. Maybe. Again, I think they need to address all of it as far as pitching is concerned. But a closer is definitely my top priority right now.
Okay, that's fair. I definitely agree. Only time will tell what is going to happen with the Diamondbacks before the trade deadline. I'm interested to see what happens and if Mike Hazen is on my side philosophy-wise or if he's going to do something crazy.
We shall see.
We shall see. You know what is consistent, though? How consistently good the Snacks and Circle K is.
Facts.
I love me a good Circle K run. I've always been like a big... This sounds terrible. I don't know how to make this sound better. Okay, stick with me here.
Oh, God.
Big gas station girl.
Okay, yeah. No, you thought you could act like you were going to say something sus or something.
When I was growing up, my little brother and I used to ride our bikes down to the gas station, like in our little neighborhood.
Like every
and I
kid
love
ever.
a good gas station run.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know
That's
if
a
that was
completely
gonna go
normal
well
thing.
or
the
not.
wrong way, but like I really liked candy as a kid.
Yeah. No, I was a huge...
Well, okay, phrasing is like I'm a gas station girl could be interpreted many different ways.
Okay. No, yeah.
Right.
When you say, no, okay, I see what you're saying.
You wrote attention. Yep, okay.
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
was
just
points. Hand
clarifying
up.
that I was a
Hand
gas
up.
station girl
Here we
because I
go.
love the candy and the drinks.
No, yeah, okay.
But the best gas station, if I'm going to be a gas station girl, I'm going to be a gas station girl at Circle K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Don't
now
sniff the gas.
now you're making it weird.
Don't sniff the gas.
Don't.
And if you want to be a gas station girl, head on down to your local Circle K right now.
If you want to just be like a normal person who just gets snacks at a really high quality gas
snacks, go to Circle K.
go to Circle K. God.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry. They have the best coffee, the best beer, the best snack selection, and the best premium gas. And Circle K gas stations just hit different. Take it from me. I would know. I've been to many. All right. I need to get it together.
Did you tell him to text?
What?
Are you telling him to text?
I'm telling him to text. Make sure you're not missing out on all of the great stuff Circle K has to offer. Get out your phone right now and text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and to get a buy one, get one free offer on a 32-ounce Polar Pop. The queen of Polar Pops is in our presence. Miss Lindsay Smith is here. She is a big Polar Pop girl. Head to circlek.com/store locator, circlek.com/store-locator to find a Circle K near you. And before we start talking about the Coyotes, we got to talk about game time because hockey season is right around the corner, which means you're going to need to buy hockey tickets. You're going to need to buy tickets to go to the game.
True.
But you know what comes before hockey season?
Football season?
Football season.
Yeah, baby.
And if you missed the first part of our show when we talked about the Cardinals, preseason is right around the corner. And our game time game of the week, bless you, the game time game of the week is our preseason game, the Broncos at Cardinals. Obviously, if you know me, you know that I am very interested in going to this because of the visiting team. But I digress. You can get tickets to this preseason game for as low as $3.
Damn.
$3.
Damn.
You want to go to a preseason game? Go to Game Time and get a preseason ticket for $3.
Okay, can I let you on a little secret?
Yeah.
I have yet to attend a football game at State Farm Stadium.
Wow.
I can
Really?
get it for $3.
Yeah, go for $3, fam.
Say less.
Let's do it.
Oh, well, I will say I was there for like the red and black scrimmage or whatever, red and white scrimmage.
Yeah.
So I've seen football there, but
Maybe you can go to the game and yell at Russell Wilson and tell him to stop being corny.
I'll just scream. I'm just gonna scream, "Let's ride."
Anyways, the game
Every-
time
that's
is
the only thing I'm gonna
the...
say.
I'm sure nobody's done that to him.
No, but I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna like not at him. I'm just gonna be like a Pokemon, like I'm just gonna say, "Let's ride."
Let's
Someone's
ride.
gonna ask me a question. It'll be, let's ride.
Game Time is
What do you
the
wanna eat?
place for last-minute
Let's ride.
ticket deals. It's the fastest-growing ticketing app in the country
Can
for
I get
a reason.
Let's
You
ride.
can get tickets on it for $3. $3.
1, 2, 3.
Download the Game
Isn't that
Time
Russ's
app.
number?
What? Yeah.
That's Russ's number.
$3 for the number 3 quarterback. Snag tickets
In the
now.
division.
Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. We got some Coyotes news, Shawn.
Yeah, we did. I thought you were gonna have like a really bad pun again to
No.
kick this off.
I'm
I was
kind of
already
punned out. My creativity is down the drain.
off one pun. You only made one Cooley pun. You're drained off that.
We've got a cool segment coming
Okay.
up.
I didn't want one. I was just saying I was surprised that you were creatively drained.
Breaking Coyotes news.
I didn't think you would get that low again.
That's not a deep cut, but I like that.
To
Yeah.
think about it.
You had to work for it. I like it.
Logan.
She is fucking
Logan.
lost. She doesn't know what month it is. She's lost. Anyways.
Yesterday, the Coyotes announced that they have officially signed their 2022 third overall pick, Mr. Logan Cooley, to a 3-year entry-level contract.
Yeah,
Before they did it, though, they were dropping some funny hints on Twitter, which I am a fan of because you know me, I love social media and I love a good little, chuckle. They tweeted, "It's sunny with a chance of 92 today. Don't you love it when it starts cooling down here?" They also tweeted a cactus shape 92, which was
A 92,
Logan's number.
Yeah.
So the Coyotes were dropping hints, They're like, hey, we got to, Logan might be here. Just letting everyone know so you can get excited now. Because I think it's something to get excited about. Like, Logan Cooley is a dog.
Yeah, it definitely is something to get excited about. This is weird to me because I'm like, why just announce him?
Yeah.
Like, why are we? I don't understand
the
the point.
Coyotes kind of loves to troll. Have
They
you learned
do.
nothing?
No. And that I respect very much. Don't get me wrong. I'm always gonna get have respect for the trolls. But yeah, I mean, you're right. This is something super exciting. That support the trolls. There's something to be super excited about. Of course, like he's the best prospect that this franchise may have ever seen before. Is that how I want?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right.
I don't know why I turned into Donald Trump all of a sudden with my hand motions.
Brian
But
Windhorst.
That's a very Trump. This is the best prospect.
the best prospect
The best
we've ever
prospect.
had.
ever.
All right.
Anyways,
the comments are going to go crazy.
yeah.
Maybe of all time.
That's an impression is impression.
It was exciting, though, because he actually
he's
talked.
the best
Can you stop
prospect
it?
we've ever had.
I'm going to throw my
I just
phone
want
at
to, both sides. I needed to touch both.
up.
Anyways,
You have gone on too many tangents on this show.
you spent 3
You're
minutes trying to
done.
figure out what month it is. What am I even talking about?
Anyways, when he was on the PHNX Coyotes show, because the PHNX Coyotes did have the one, the only Logan Cooley as a guest, which you should go check out. You can find it on YouTube or on any podcast platform. He was a little bit unsure of what his future held because, of course, they did their due diligence and asked him, hey, what are you thinking timeline-wise about what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Are you going to come to Arizona? And he was like, I don't know. I need to talk to my coaches. I need to see how the rest of my college career goes because they talked to him before Minnesota came to play ASU during the collegiate season. So he was still a little bit unsure. And he did have an extremely successful first season at Minnesota. Obviously, he is a pro at the lacrosse style goal.
Oh, yeah, that he pulled off here at Mullet.
Yeah, which we all saw. What is it called again? It has a name.
Michigan.
The Michigan, yeah. He pulled off the Michigan here at Mullet, which was crazy to watch in person.
Yeah.
But his stats from his
Undeniable,
collegiate
man.
season, undeniable. In 39 games played, he had 22 goals, 38 assists. Like, this kid is a monster.
Yeah, plus 38. Like, and I mean, he was on like the best line in all of college hockey.
Right. Which always helps.
With Snuggerud, and why am I blanking on the kid that's from here that plays for the Maple Leafs? Matty
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Like that line, and I mean, seeing them here was an unbelievable experience.
I was at that game.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I couldn't believe that they were college kids because obviously there's a big difference between collegiate hockey and NHL. Obviously,
yeah,
that's a dumb statement. But
when you saw him live, like you could test there was a different kind of talent.
Those
like
Michigan or those Minnesota sweaters are hard.
yeah, the Minnesota dude.
yeah,
Just a burgundy, maroon, and yellow is just a great combination. Collegiate it's so good. Not as good when you're playing professional football, but otherwise a great combination.
yeah.
But yeah, no. He's just an incredibly talented kid, and it was so awesome to see that he decided to sign his contract.
Were you surprised by his decision?
I mean, not really. I mean, like if I'm being honest, obviously part of I produce the Coyote show, so they're talking about it all the time. And you know, Craig had talked to him before, and he was obviously he was non-committal. He had previously said that he was going back to Minnesota, but he had in conversation they had since that he left the door very much open. So I mean, I always thought the possibility was there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you had asked me this 4 months ago, I would have been shocked. Like after obviously the arena thing happened, he said he was going back. I didn't think this was going to be on the table. I made a lot of sense. And then by no means did I think he was out on the organization or anything like that. But, you know, Minnesota's a very good team. You know, college is fun. It makes sense to go back. But no, I wasn't really surprised. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons. Being a pro was pretty awesome, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not surprised that I am not surprised that a 19-year-old kid wants to play NHL hockey.
Yeah, I'm also not surprised by him wanting to play in the NHL. He did talk to the media yesterday, and he kind of explained his decision-making process, and here's what he had to say.
You know, any hockey player, it's their goal to play in the NHL, and obviously that was my dream. You know, I want to play at the highest level I can. I want to be pushed every day. I want to play with the best, and honestly, I'm just super excited the future of the Arizona Coyotes and the direction they're going in. You know, obviously that you saw the moves they made at the deadline. You know, their coaching staff, the ownership group. You know, so happy to be a part of it, and you know, I can't wait to get going.
Overall, very positive sentiments from the Logan Cooley, I say, as if he's, but you love to hear the positive sentiments.
Yeah.
As far as if it's the right decision for him to go now, I mean, obviously he wouldn't be going if he didn't think he had a good shot at making the NHL roster, because obviously he's not the same caliber as an AHL player. So I think he wouldn't have made that decision if he didn't have a pretty good idea, faith in, like, confidence in his own talent, that he could make the NHL roster.
To be clear, like we talked to Lee about it, he was very humble. Like he didn't, by no means thinks he is like he is guaranteed. He's very much like if I get the opportunity to make the NHL roster, which is also a very awesome thing to see from like the best player in all of college hockey.
Yes, absolutely. So he wasn't like, oh, I'm definitely making the NHL. He was like, I feel like he had at least a reasonable amount of humble confidence that he could make an NHL roster. Otherwise, I don't think you make the decision to leave a collegiate program that is very successful and one that you're very good at. But I also feel like, you know, 19-year-old kids making an NHL roster doesn't happen all the time. Like, it is very rare. I think the last time it happened was Clayton Keller, and Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley happen to have the same agent, which is a little bit of a coinky dink.
The brothers,
agents. So I think probably, you know, Logan even said it when he talked to the media yesterday that he was talking to Clayton Keller. You know, his family helped him make the decision. He was talking to Clayton. His agents kind of were talking to him. I feel, you know, obviously I don't know, can't confirm or deny that probably that played a role in his decision making. Clayton was probably like, "Come on, Logan, come on
I mean,
over."
when if the star of the team who is there every day feels good about the organization of the franchise and feels that you can contribute to that in a positive way, like that has to feel really good. And like you said, that he'd been in the same situation going from college straight to the pros. So like,
Clayton did it. Logan can do it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I think that is probably helped him a lot to like I said, have a guy that's been in that situation that has a lot of confidence in him, and obviously, like you said, they have the same agents, like having them kind of be able to facilitate those conversations, stuff like that. I can't imagine how valuable that was in helping him get here. I can't say one way or the other, but you know, it is certainly a question of whether or not he is here if Clayton Keller is not all in.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Smith in the comments asking when Cooley suits up, who would be a good mentor for him if he makes the roster? Clayton Keller.
Yeah, I mean, they have
same agents,
same experience, and
they
I
also have the same vibe. Like, I don't know if you're a vibe.
It's a very quiet humbleness to them for sure. And I mean, they are going to be as far as like, I don't want to say they're the two best players on the team, even though that might also be true. But like in terms of just like a wow factor and like being a like game breaker style players, like those are the two. Yeah. And so there's certainly a lot of similarities between them.
Clayton's been in the NHL long enough too to be a mentor for Cooley,
which is cool. I think at this point Clayton is one of the leaders on the team.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, he certainly is. So I did you look at me for saying I think? Yeah. I think we might see a letter on his chest at some point. I think he deserves to wear a letter on his chest at the very least.
I think there's some contenders though. I think Krauser is in the mix.
Fisher? Oh, wait.
Oh, sad. Why did you have to bring that up? Anyways, I want to end on this just because it's a happy note, and then we will wrap it up. I don't know if I'm Delulu. Actually, I do know. I am Delulu, confirmed. I kind of read into someone in the comments, I think it was Chris. Yeah, I was more surprised by Josh than Logan. So Josh Donor was obviously drafted by the Coyotes. And then after 2 seasons with ASU, decided to go and fulfill his NHL contract with the Coyotes. I was also a little bit surprised by that. But I am Delulu and I live in a fantasy land. And I read into this as like Josh going like now, Logan going now as a positive sign because you know, we've been dealing with the stupid narrative of the Coyotes suck. They don't have an arena. Nobody wants to play for them. And to see like these 2 really talented prospects be like, I want to play for them. Actually, I'm going to go now and play for them right now. I read into that as like a very positive and a happy thing. So I don't know if that's just me and I don't know if you read it into the same way, but I take that as they're not listening to the outside noise. They don't care that the Coyotes don't have a permanent arena right now and they're excited to be a part of this organization. Obviously, Logan said it when he met in the media in that clip. But I read into it as a happy thing. Yeah.
I mean, like the clip was, you don't even have to read into it. He said he liked the direction of the organization. And I mean, I think Josh is a slightly different. It's obviously a pretty unique situation. The fact that his dad was in the organization when he made this move. And to be fair, Shane Doan was on the Coyotes podcast and he said this was a Josh's decision. It wasn't something they really even talked about. So, But I mean, Donor obviously got to play in mullet. He was around the organization a lot more, so he had a better idea of what the true state of the organization was. And I mean, transitioning from playing in mullet to I guess TCC is he probably a downgrade anyways. So like, yeah, I mean, I think it definitely like you see that with these guys, you see it with Clayton Keller, stuff like that. Like, I think there's a lot of people who are just the people who matter, the players, feel good about the direction of the organization, because at the end of the day, they don't like. The end of the day, they're trying to win a Stanley Cup, right? And so if they feel like the roster is moving in that direction towards putting them in a better chance of winning a Stanley Cup, I don't think they really care. Like I think they would rather win a Stanley Cup at mullet than go 0-82 at the nicest arena in hockey.
Facts. All right. Well, there you have it. I'm super excited about the future of the Coyotes and the fact that we have all these young, talented guys to look forward to watching for many years to come, because the Coyotes are not leaving Arizona. You know what I'm going to do after I go get a Chris Hazy IPA? I'm going to Burrito Express. Big shout out to Burrito Express for bringing in burritos to the office this week. I had 2.
I had 2 as well. I think I might be on a new. I might be on a new burrito.
Oh, which one?
Keeping it simple. Shout out Jacob, because he's been on this wave. The bean and cheese, man. I rock with it. Refried beans go crazy.
Nope.
Dude, refried beans go insane.
They're like,
you know what would go nuts? Put the refried beans in the breakfast supreme.
Ooh,
I think that
would go crazy.
Ooh.
I'm really lucky I got
we
my
need
2
our own
favorite
burritos.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I've been talking to Angel on the golf course whenever we golf.
You should bet him on the golf course.
I will. Let's do that.
I'm really excited because I got to have my 2 favorite burritos this week. I got my first choice, which is steak and potato first, and then I got a breakfast supreme the next day, and I had 4 green salsas each. So 8 green salsas are in my tummy right now, and I'm really happy about it. If you want to partake
your digestion,
if you want to partake in the burrito happiness, head on to any of Burrito Express's multiple locations throughout the valley. You can grab a burrito and follow Burrito Express on Twitter at BurritoEXP. Shawn DePaz,
Makayla Perkins,
Shane Diefenbach.
Help. Come watch us on Bets in 2 seconds.
Yeah, yes. The Bets show's going live, so everyone go watch it.
AFC East preview. So I am talking about the Buffalo Bills in the right context.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of TPSP. Chris, Daniel, Connor, Jose, Classy Nasty, Ryan, Connor, both Connors, my mom sometimes, even though she started a fight. All you guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next Friday at 12:30. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.